Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. If you are new here, my name is Sarah and we are a minimalist family who is living big with less. And today I want to tell you 10 things that I still buy even though I'm a minimalist. I've seen a couple of the reverse of this video about a whole list of things that they don't buy anymore. And I think that's great, but I think it's also important to acknowledge that there are things that we all still need in order to function. And so I'm going to tell you some of my dirty secrets. These are things that I still buy, whether they are regarded as minimalist or not. Give you a little insight as to why I buy them and how my buying of these items has changed since I became a minimalist. So if you're curious what I'm still buying, stick around. Firstly, guys, let me just say that the reason I didn't do the reverse of this video and tell you the things I don't buy anymore is because the reasons I don't buy them are so personal to me that I would never want anyone to feel like they shouldn't buy it if their circumstances are different. And so I really wanted to sort of flip that idea on its head and tell you some of the things I do still buy and sort of how I changed the patterning around that to still line up with my simple living philosophies whilst still enjoying some of my favorite things. So I'm going to blitz through these. Let's get started. The first thing I still buy is clothes. So I think that there is a little bit of a myth that people think that once you become a minimalist, you stop buying things completely. And I think when it comes to clothes, you would probably be quite surprised to know that I actually think in some ways I purchase items more frequently. So because I have a capsule wardrobe and because my kids have capsule wardrobes of sorts, that I tend to actually wear clothes out. I wear my favorite clothes all the time. And so, my favorite pair of jeans, even though I have 3 of the same pair, they do wear out faster, so I need to replace those more regularly. But one thing that has changed about the way I buy clothes is that I'm way more intentional about sticking to my style. I actually focus way less on the price of clothes as I do buying the clothes that I know I'm going to use and wear. So I am prepared to spend slightly more if I know it's something I am going to be able to wear for a long time, that I'm going to get a lot of use out of it, and then it's going to mix and match with lots of different things in my wardrobe. In saying that, I would say that probably around 80% of the clothes, particularly in my wardrobe, are from thrift stores, or we call them op shops here in Australia, because I find that I can get really good quality clothes at a cheaper price, but there's a bit of a hunt, a treasure hunt that goes on in order to get those clothes. But I quite like that side of it, and I will happily leave a thrift store with absolutely nothing if something hasn't fit what I need. So either something for my kids or something for me or for my husband that I know is going to be a really good fit in their wardrobe. So as I've become more intentional about what I purchase, that ability to just leave a shop if there's nothing for me, picking up items that I know are going to be really good staple items that they're going to be able to mix and match with lots of different outfits in my wardrobe, those are the things that have become way more important to me, but we definitely still buy plenty of clothes. Number 2, I know this is going to be a little bit controversial, but we still buy takeaway coffee. I absolutely love a Starbucks. I love any coffee I haven't had to make for myself, to be honest, but particularly really nice, good coffee that's made the way that I like it, I am still prepared to pay for it. And there has been times on our journey where we were really going on a tight budget, but even then, I would actually work in a takeaway coffee into my budget because it is something I enjoy so much. But again, I am very intentional about when I use it. So I don't get takeaway coffee every day, but when I do, it's usually like on a date with my husband, sitting down with my best friend after a really stressful event, when I need some sort of self-care. You know, if we've had to go and have a really hard meeting or had a really tough week, that I can go and spend $6, which seems extravagant and is probably not necessary. But for me, it's about, you know, it's something that I really enjoy doing. I like the process of it. I love coffee. And so I would encourage you to, of course, look at your budget and look at how you're spending your money and what items you're purchasing, but also remembering that if you really love and enjoy something, that has value to it. So whether it's like me and it's a takeaway coffee every week, or if it's something completely different, if it's, you know, a course that you've always been wanting to do to learn a skill, or whatever that looks like for you, whatever self-care looks like, I definitely think that investing in yourself or in something you love is totally worth it. Number 3 is good quality furniture. Again, this comes down to knowing your style really well. I know what I like with furniture probably better than what I know that I like to eat and what I like to wear, because I am so sensitive to how the things around me look. And so I can appreciate all different kinds of style, but what I bring into my own home, I'm very particular about. And so I want it to, one, be really easy to clean. I have a lot of kids, I have a lot of friends, I have a cat, and so I want to have furniture that is really good quality but easy to clean. If I can remove the outside and put it in the wash, if it's a really hard-wearing microfiber fabric that I know I can wipe down, all of those things are really important to me. And the pieces that I have picked, I know are going to serve me for a long time. And so again, I would, you know, the couch that's down in our media room, it was a big investment purchase for me. And like, although it wasn't thousands of dollars, which I know some pieces of furniture can be, was still within my budget, but it was an investment because, one, I know that my family are going to be gathering to watch movies and play games in that space, and so I want to invest where my family spends time. I also want to invest in my own calming, stress-free environment and enjoying the furniture that I have. And I want furniture that's not going to break or get dirty and I can't clean it in a really short amount of time. So for me, good quality furniture is right up there with the things I still buy. Number 4 probably will come as no shock to you guys, but it's experiences. So I had a big shift probably about 8 years ago when we went full minimalist, that I noticed that even for my kids, when we would be talking about the things that we remembered, that it was less centered on the things and more centered around the memories. And so I am huge on investing in experiences. One, because I feel like we carry the memories with us for so much longer. 2, it doesn't actually introduce any more clutter into my life. And 3, it's a great way of sort of experiencing the world around us and helping out small businesses, and those are things that I'm really passionate about. And as whatever that looks like for you, I just feel like there is no end of experiences that we can choose over physical things. So whether it's, like I said before, taking up a hobby and doing a class, or going out and seeing somewhere you've never seen before, or going to a restaurant that serves food that's different from what you would normally make. I just think it makes us so much richer for the process. So experiences are super high on my list. Number 5 is paid apps. So if you've been around for any length of time, you probably know that in this family, we love tech. I love seeing what tech can do as a creator, but also just as a mom. I like all the productivity things. And one thing I think is really odd is that people are not willing to pay for really good quality apps on things that we're using all the time. So whether it's, a phone or an iPad or your computer, that we're on these things, they're a huge part of our life, they're meeting so many different needs in our life, and we would spend, we can drop money on stuff that's not important really quickly, but we tend not to allow ourselves to do a paid app because there are so many free apps. And I became aware that not every time, but lots of the time when you're using a free app, that you are the product. So whether it's that you are being sold some sort of advertising, or they are taking your data and your information and selling that to somebody else, so you become the product. And that as I sort of saw the value of really good paid apps, for me, the number one has to be 1Password, which is what we use as our password manager. If you've got a big family, I completely recommend it. This is not sponsored. I just really think it's important, one, that people have better online security, and two, managing that as a family when your kids start to get passwords and there is so many different accounts, that paying for that kind of app is really important. And we need to get out of this mindset that nothing is truly free. And so as we, pay people for really good software like apps, that we will definitely get good return on that. So that's something that's super important to us. Number 6 is streaming services. So as a minimalist and moving away from holding on to physical things and accessing more things digitally, this one has been golden for me. I find it so helpful that, we don't need a huge CD collection anymore because we have access to, we use Apple Music, but any song I want to listen to is available there. I use Apple Music like every single day. For me, it's 100% worth it. And whatever those streaming services look like for you, whether it's you've got a family like us and you like to watch Disney, or you've got an Audible subscription because you love audiobooks, or you've got some sort of book subscription so that you can download ebooks to read. I just think that streaming services have opened up a world, particularly for minimalists who don't necessarily want to hold on to those items, that we can watch it, and then you don't need to keep every single streaming service every month either. We are really good at sort of looking at what that month's going to look like. If it's the kids' summer break, that's a great time to maybe get something extra. And then once we're back into the busy flow of life again, we cut those right back to just the essential ones that we use all the time. But streaming services, I think, are a game changer for minimalists and are totally up there on my list. Number 7 is good quality tech. I think it is so interesting when I see someone using a smashed screen on their phone for a long time. As in, this is something you use daily, you use it for so many different things, and that if I was to say something that I think is worth the investment in, it's those things that you use daily. And so good quality tech that is going to last a long time. And that can be hard in the tech world because there's new and improved things coming all the time, and sometimes they don't let you update after a certain period. But certainly for us, we don't update to the latest and greatest every single year. So we don't even update to the latest and greatest every second year. For us, it's probably every 4th or 5th year that we will upgrade devices. We will look at what our children's needs are for educational things and things like that. But I do think that for a lot of things, particularly in the tech world, like what I use to film on, I buy what I think is of really good quality. It doesn't mean it's the most expensive by any stretch of the imagination, but I will do a lot of research before we purchase anything. And then once we purchase it, I know that it's going to last us and we can take really good care of it. And that, I've researched, I've, perhaps bought the best in my price range that I can, that has the best reviews and the features that are best going to suit me. And so good quality tech items that are bought intentionally are super high on my priorities. Number 8 is kids' toys. So I have heard quite a few different people in this genre talk about not buying toys anymore. And I certainly think that there is a place to look at what you own and, maybe either pare down or make decisions to bring less items in. But I personally don't like the idea of cutting off toys completely. I think that play is an integral part of childhood, and that any way that I can encourage play, I am all for it. That being said, I think that children are amazing at using their imagination and they can work well with really few items, but I will always be receptive to what my kids are interested in, and if there is a toy that I know is going to lead to a lot of open-ended play, I'm all for that. And that by not blanking off that whole category for my kids, that by accepting it and being really intentional about what toys we purchase and what kind of toys we purchase, that we can still enjoy that category, enjoy engaging in play without sort of throwing the baby out with the bathwater. So I'm all for toys. I know for a lot of families, it's a big part of their decluttering journey, particularly in the beginning. But I do think it's so valid that, we encourage play in our children, and that as long as we're being intentional about those purchases and realizing that kids are impulsive and that they're going to want things just because they're there or because they look exciting at the store, and we don't have to say yes every time, but that there are times where a yes will lead to hours and hours of play. Number 9 is good food that we will actually eat. So of course, I know you're like, Sarah, everybody buys food, whoop-de-doo. But one thing that sort of changed on my minimalist journey is that because we all still have to buy food, it was somewhere that I could definitely overspend and overbuy in. And one of the problems with that is that I was buying my fantasy family's food. So I really had a good look about what my kids really like to eat, what I am really going to prepare, and I buy that. For my family, and your family is probably completely different, but my kids are creatures of habit and they like similar foods week in, week out. And I used to push against this barrier like you wouldn't believe, trying to introduce all sorts of new things all the time. And of course, there's a space for introducing new foods to your kids. But for me, I noticed that once I sort of pared down and got sort of a good variety of foods in my kids' diet, but that we sort of intermix those same sorts of foods week in, week out, that was completely fine. It really simplified my shopping, and although, maybe I spend a little bit more on some items, I would much rather spend a little bit more on something my family are actually going to eat than spending money on something that either my fantasy family are going to eat or that was cheaper, but nobody is going to enjoy it, and then it ends up getting wasted, which means the whole amount goes in the bin. So if you are struggling in the food department, I would really encourage you, simplify down to what you know everybody loves, if that's possible, or as much as possible, that you don't have to be making new recipes every single week, that you can sort of mix and match some of those favorites and introduce new foods a little bit at a time. But it's definitely worth the investment to buy, good quality produce and things like that. And that, once you know what those things for your family look like, it's so much easier. Number 10 is good quality essentials. So again, this comes back to sometimes those impulse purchases that we buy chew through a big part of our budget, or create a lot of clutter in our lives, yet the essential items can somehow get missed. So things like good quality underwear that you're wearing every day, a good mattress or pillow because you're sleeping on it every single night, good shoes for your kids, those sorts of things, those essential things that aren't like a huge amount, but can really make a big difference. And as I prioritized these essential items, I found that my overall happiness was actually really impacted by this, because these little things that I was using every single day were really nice, and those sort of impulsive purchases that are good in the moment, but once they're over are forgotten. That home decor that looks good in the store, but when you get it home doesn't match anything. That on-trend piece of clothing that's not really your style or to your shape. Those sorts of purchases that are probably advertised to us, and that can be a big waste of money and a clutter adder to our homes. They can actually strip away from those essential items, where if we sort of put that intentionality into them, into buying those things that truly impact us on the day-to-day, that can help our overall happiness and bring that positivity and that intentionality to our everyday. So guys, I can't wait to hear down in the comments. These are just my 10 things. I know that your 10 things are going to look completely different. So I would love to hear those down below, or if any of yours are the same as mine, I would love to hear that too. If you're not already, please hit that subscribe button. We would love you to join our community here at Small Changes, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.